Distinguished participants, I would like to give you a warm welcome to the virtual meeting on digital connectivity and e-resilience for crisis preparedness. In this meeting, we will be discussing with you, with professionals, policymakers, and technical experts, the analytical products and toolkits suggested by ESCAP that aim to enhance e-resilience and broadband connectivity in the region. This meeting is crucial as a way forward to the implementation of Asia-Pacific Information Superhighway. We are delivering this meeting in preparation to the SPECA Economic Forum and Governing Council, which will be conducted on 20th November. Before we proceed, let me please announce some disclaimers. The remote simultaneous interpretation of the meetings is provided by the United Nations for the purpose of facilitating communications in light of the fact that there are 6 official languages of the United Nations. Participants are requested to be mindful of the additional difficulties experienced by interpreters when working in remote mode, and of the increased likelihood of disruptions of the audio fed into the interpreters. Only the speech or intervention in the original language is authentic and constitutes an authentic record of the proceedings. In case of any inconsistency between the interpretation and the speech or intervention in original language, the latter shall prevail. Interpreters servicing remote meetings cannot held liable for interruption of service, pixelation, freezing or loss of visual input, or partially or incomplete loss of audio, audible artifacts, unauthorized access to personal and confidential data, leaking of information due to inadequate soundproofing or data loss. I would like to give the floor to Ms. Tiziana Bonapace, Director of the Information and Communications Technology and Disaster Risk Reduction Division, to deliver her opening remarks. Ms. Tiziana, please.
Thank you, Aida, and a very good morning to the distinguished participants of this virtual meeting. It's a great pleasure for me to have this opportunity to welcome you all and to give a few introductory remarks. And I'd like to start off by saying that I think we can all agree that the COVID-19 pandemic has accelerated the need for digital transformation, as demand for fast and reliable connectivity continues to grow. Since January 2020, data traffic has increased all over the world, exploding virtually overnight, and in some cases, challenging the capabilities of the underlying ICT infrastructure to keep up with the demand. And the pandemic has also exposed a gap and a growing gap between the unconnected, the underconnected, and the hyper-connected, digitalized segments of society. And those that are less digitally equipped are also those that have proven to be more vulnerable to the devastating effects of the pandemic. So the current pandemic has really underlined the need for an action-oriented plan that accelerates digital transformation. Through our Asia-Pacific Information Superhighway initiative, ESCAP supports member states in increasing the availability and affordability of broadband internet across the region by strengthening the underlying internet infrastructure. The master plan of the initiative has 4 pillars. One is infrastructure connectivity. A second one is improved internet traffic management. A third one is building network resilience. And a fourth one is promoting broadband access, particularly in underserved areas. And it is under Pillar 3 that the resilience of ICT infrastructure networks has assumed particular importance in the face of the pandemic. We define e-resilience as the ability of ICT systems to withstand, recover from, and change in the face of an external shock. And we have further developed this concept from two lenses or perspectives: ICT for its own resilience and ICT for societal resilience. And these are interdependent and especially critical in the crisis of today and in the future crises that inevitably will strike, particularly those that are related to climate change. So assessing and monitoring these two sides of e-resilience on a regular basis can help governments in their policy responses and in their preparedness to present and future crises. And recognizing the importance of digital connectivity and e-resilience for development, ESCAP proposes to design an e-resilience monitoring framework and interactive dashboard with a mapping exercise that will inform and assess digital performance across the region and ensure that safe, affordable, and reliable digital connectivity is available to all in preparation for future crises. So under this Asia Pacific Information Superhighway Initiative, this expert group meeting will discuss the next steps. And in particular, the meeting aims to update you and to receive your views and inputs on 3 or 4 different aspects. One is a partnership portal for co-deploying ICT infrastructure with roads and energy infrastructure. Second is a methodology for determining the most economically feasible model of these new smart corridors. The third is an overview of the available ICT indices through a SWOT analysis: strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats in relation to e-resilience. And fourth is an overview of the monitoring framework and the methodologies for the development of the e-resilience dashboard. And of course, this expert meeting today also precedes by a week the Economic Forum and the Governing Council meeting of SPECA. Economic Forum on 18th of November, and the Governing Council of SPECA will meet 19 to 20. And so we have brought you all together today as experts to prepare for the Economic Forum and the Governing Council. And we would also request your support during the Governing Council meeting, your support for regional seamless digital connectivity and digital transformation as we move forward. Your support will be vital for us taking this work forward and scaling it up in light of the needs that the pandemic has shown and demonstrated. So thank you very much for your attention, and I wish you all a good discussion, and I'm looking forward to hearing your feedback and hearing your advice and ideas over the next 2 or 3 hours. Thank you. Over to you, Aida.
Thank you very much, Mr. Tana. for these very inspirational welcoming remarks. Dear participants, dear colleagues, today we will have 3 sessions where we will have some interactions with you. And during the first session and the second session, please raise your hand because we don't have specific order, and all the interactions will be organized instantly with the help of conference management unit. And I would also watch the screens, and I hope that you will be available for us. And before we finalize our meeting at the end, we will have an online survey for those who were not able to join us and make the points. They will have opportunity to express their ideas, points, and the choices through their online survey that will also follow the course of discussions of the meeting. So without further iteration, now I have an honor and the pleasure to give the floor to Mr. Vadim Kaptur. He is our SCAP consultant. He worked really hard and smart to help us to develop some analytical work. And now he has his presentation on the prototype of the partnership portal for co-deployment of ICT infrastructure with energy and road transport infrastructure. And he will also present the toolkit for determining the most promising models of the transport corridors development. Mr. Vadim, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Aida. Good morning, dear colleagues. Thank you very much for the introduction and for the opportunity to make this presentation. My first presentation, as already mentioned, is about the overview of the informational portal for ICT infrastructure co-deployment with road, transport, and energy infrastructure. Next slide, please. The idea of those 2 projects, which I will talk about today, originated in the framework of in-depth studies for Kazakhstan and Kyrgyzstan on ICT infrastructure co-deployment with road transport and energy infrastructure. Within the framework of this work, which was published in April of this year, a special toolkit was developed, which included a number of methodologies that allow assessing the economic feasibility of co-deployment and many other things. Next slide, please. The study demonstrates that in many countries, the key problem on the path of co-deployment are not only amplification of legislation or incompleteness of special technical regulations, but also the fact that representatives of various spheres, such ICT, road transport, energy, learn about potential partnership projects too late, usually at the stage when it becomes too late to talk about co-deployment. Among the general recommendations that were given in the framework of these studies, a valid group of recommendations can be highlighted. So this group is devoted to the development of special information portal, which will provide the best conditions for establishing partnership between various stakeholders. Next slide, please. Within the framework of this portal, it was proposed to use, among other things, the toolkit. Within this toolkit, we have a few methodologies, including the methodology for determining the compatibility of projects and methodology for assessing economic feasibility of co-deployment, etc. All of these decisions were consolidated in the framework of many UNSCAP meetings in the 2019 and 2020. Next slide, please. So today I will speak in my presentations about 2 areas that we are currently working on. The first direction is the portal, and the second is the development of smart corridors. Next slide, please. In this presentation, I will focus on the first area, an informational portal to support partnership for ICT infrastructure co-deployment with road transport and energy infrastructure. This slide, you can see on the slide the address where we plan to place this portal when it will be ready. Today, I will show you only preliminary drawings, which we call a prototype. By the way, you can go through this link and view prototypes in 2 languages, Russian and English, in more detail. Next slide, please. Here you can see the generalized structure of the portal. This portal has 2 main functions: the creation of partnership and the formation of single knowledge base on the specific and important issue, co-deployment of infrastructure. Next slide, please. Now I will try to briefly go through the main outline functionality. This is what the homepage of portal will look like. There will be access to registration or authorization, knowledge base, language section, etc. Next slide, please. If we talk about general principles of work, you can see them on the slide. Active portal users can have 1 of 2 roles. It may be just an author of articles for knowledge base, or it may be a representative of infrastructure owner who plans to implement new projects. For example, construct or build new road, a new railway line, a new fiber optical line, etc. If you are owner of infrastructure, then after authorization, you will need to send documents to the portal administration. For example, a scanned copy of the letter to verify your organization. It will be possible to work with the portal without it, but other users will also see the status of your registration, authorized or not. So that the owner of infrastructure can add facilities of prospective construction or reconstruction, evaluate them using our methodologies, and find partners for co-deployment. For example, road owners will search for suitable projects for the construction of fiber optical communication lines, and owners of fiber optic communication lines, relevant project for construction the roads. Next slide, please. So this slide shows a prototype of screen with a list of facilities added to the system, for which you can select the level of visibility for other portal members. Next slide. The facility can be a road, railway, and other. After entering the user will be asked to assess its potential for co-deployment using our methodology and the special tips. If any of participants were attended in a training in Almaty or Ulaanbaatar last year, we were just practicing to do such assessment. I will work. It will work like this. For example, the owner of the road enters estimate for the special facility, and the owner of the fiber communication line make estimation for his facility. Then, when searching for partners, the portal will automatically consider the compatibility of facilities from a technical point of view and return only those facilities that are most compatible. If you do not enter this data for your facilities, you will still be able to search the facilities, but this function, an assessment by compatibility level, will not be available for you. Next slide, please. So although user can provide information for calculating the cost effectiveness of co-deployment, this will make it possible to search for partners more effectively. Here will be located the default values that we will enter into the system in advance, like labor norms, material costs, etc. But user will be able to correct and to change these values. This data will be used to calculate economic efficiency. the construction of facilities will be calculated separately, the cost of construction, and then the economic assessment will be calculated for co-deployment. User can use this information also during the searching of facilities. Next slide, please. This slide shows how the search process will go. You can choose the type of infrastructure with which it will be interesting to try to co-deploy. Filtered by infrastructure owner, geographical information, and also select the compatibility level in case if you enter such information about your facilities, and the level of economic efficiency. So the result will be represented as a list of facilities that will meet the criteria into it. Next slide, please. If infrastructure owner is interested in any facility for co-deployment, user can send a proposal for co-deployment. Such proposal will be duplicated by email, as well as stored in the portal itself, where they can be viewed, deleted, rejected, or accepted. Next slide, please. If user accepts the proposal, then a new project will be automatically created in the system, and both infrastructure owners will have access to this project. For example, owner of the road and telecommunication operator who wants to lay fiber optical line together with road construction or reconstruction. Here, users will be able to exchange more detailed information, discuss some technical issues, and bring the process up to the signing of memorandum of understanding about the co-deployment. Next slide, please. The second, but not less important function of the portal is the knowledge base on issues of co-deployment of infrastructures. Anyone can get access to such database. It will be open for users, also not registered, but only registered users can provide information for it. It could be the infrastructure owners or special users, contributors. You see what kind of information we are planning to post here. It is like legislative acts, methodologies, and different studies about co-deployment training materials, tools, successful projects, etc. Next slide, please. Here is the user interface for adding data to this knowledge base. It's very simple. Next slide, please. So a few words about where we are going to get information for our database, as well as variables for the economical calculations. This slide shows that we are going to actively use everything that has already been created early and make this resource a kind of entry point into this subject area. So we will be using national and international legislation databases, specialized resources of international organizations, information from experts and relevant stakeholders, also specialized educational institutions and scientific organizations. Next slide, please. Now, as I said, we have a prototype. The software implementation of Portal is ongoing. I expect we will finish it before the new year. And then we will move to testing, filling, and promoting the portal. There is a place where we are looking for the experts in the countries. Next slide, please. So, as it already mentioned, we will have a survey a little bit later, and I propose to put a few questions to the survey related to the portal. There are some of them. So if you talk about this project, I have 4 questions there. They are on the screen, and your answers will not only help us to do our project better, but also possible make you are as a part of our team. So thank you very much for your attention, and as I understand, we will have a block for questions and answers and for comments later. Please feel free to do so. Thank you.
Thank you, Vadim. I think we will go ahead with second presentations, and maybe after 10 minutes of this presentation, we will have around 30 minutes for discussions. Please take a note and make sure you have your questions raised or proposals during discussion session. Our discussions would be handled in 2 languages with the help of interpretation, so you may feel yourself very comfortable asking in both languages, in English or in Russian. So with this, let me please invite Vadim again to deliver the next slide set, which is on toolkit for determining the most promising model for the new transport corridors development. So, please, Vadim, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Aida. So I will start my second presentation. It is about the tools for determining the most promising model for the development of new transport corridors. As in previous case, the ideas for this toolkit originated during the ESCAP events in Almaty and Ulaanbaatar. Next slide, please. So what is included or will be included in this toolkit when it will be ready? First of all, it is parametric model of transport corridor, which will include all those parameters that influence on the choice of a scenario for its development, or most of these parameters. Methodology that will allow us to determine the scenario and a simulation model with which it will be possible to see what we can expect from a particular scenario from an economical point of view. And also examples of calculations for 3 transport corridors, which were identified as promising by participants of our meetings in Almaty and Ulaanbaatar last year. Next slide, please. I will start with component that is already ready. So this is in-depth analysis of the transport corridors that I have just mentioned. And the first one is Almaty-Chulponata. A huge number of attempts have already been made to build a direct road here. And now work is also underway too. And thanks to this toolkit, we finally want to find the answer for the question under what conditions it will be really profitable, or maybe worth closing the questions once. In general, if you look at the external outline of the project and the key goal, then the key goal here is, of course, tourism. Now, to get the Isiku Lake from Almaty, you need to go through Bishkek, the capital of Kyrgyzstan. Of course, there is a lot of technical difficulties. It is very expensive to build a road here. And there is also obvious opposition to the project environmental via the National Mountain Park Ele Altau on the way of this possible road. Next slide, please. The second of these 3 corridors, Semey-Rubtsovsk, has completely different purpose. Rather, this is the way from Kazakhstan to Mongolia, one of the possible way. Here we also not talking about the construction of something new, but about the reconstruction of some road segments, and there is also an ecological aspect in this corridor. Next slide, please. So the third that we are considered is Urjar Chukuchak. There is also a significant potential for growth of traffic. So I will not stop a lot on this analysis, but we are ready to share it with you in both languages, Russian and English. Next slide, please. One of the key purposes of the toolkit is to find the most promising partnership model for the given scenario. The document we are already working on considers various models of partnership at different levels. Macro, like an interstate cooperation meso, it's like a regional cooperation meso level, and micro level, it's a local partnership. Next slide, please. But in order to make the appropriate calculations, a parametric model of the smart transport corridor was developed, and this model includes various parameters distributed into the groups and levels. We have two levels: the level of general parameters of the transport corridor and level of specific parameters that related to the types or different types of infrastructure facilities, like roads, railways, ICT, energy. And we have the classes of parameters like a geographical, technological, and organizational, socio-economic, etc. We are also working with not object as whole, but with the different segments that allow us to see in details the state of each particular object or each particular segment of the facility. Next slide, please. So, if you talk about the very core of the toolkit, the methodology for determining the most promising model for the development of transport corridors, then I will stop on it a little bit more. The basic principle is shown on this slide. We take information about existing or planned infrastructure, technologies, the state of the economy, and calculate the basic indicators of capital and operating costs for the creation of or reconstruction and maintenance of the infrastructure facilities. We take the expected income and see which of the development scenarios is the most economically attractive. Next slide, please. So how it works? First of all, we are identifying promising technical and economical flows, like a passenger traffic, cargo traffic, informational flow, energy flow, and turn them into the monetary equivalent. If there is no facility, but there is demand, as in case of Almaty-Chulponata road, then we assess what characteristics or throughput this facility should have. If it already exists, then we will see if we have enough existing facilities to support the growth of the flow in the time. Based on this, we determine the basic development scenarios, then additional through the possible co-deployment of infrastructures. And then we are calculating each of these scenarios from an economical point of view, and can choose the most promising. And for this, we are using, and then we can choose the most interesting model of partnership for the particular scenario. Next slide, please. In order to somehow designate these scenarios, we introduced a special notation system. The upper index is responsible for the format of actions on the facility, and the lower one is the infrastructure facility of a certain type. Here on the slide, an example of scenario is shown in which we reconstruct a road, like the upper index is reconstruction and the lower is a road. Do nothing with railway, it may be good enough, or it is not there and it's not needed, not necessary to construct the new or something like this. We do not do anything with electricity line, and we build a new fiber optical communication line. It's like an example. Next slide, please. Actually, the methodology itself is a set of algorithms and formulas that I use it to calculate both the expected flows and the cost of building infrastructure facilities and possible income from their operations. In this case, really on the set of technological operations that are part of the single technological process, each of which provides for certain labor costs and direct material costs proportional to the length of the facility or its segments that requires the reconstruction. In this slide, I just gave an example of how we calculate flows and how we then use scenarios to identify relevant partnership model. But if you wish, I will be let me introduce you the methodology in more detail. For this, we also have a special question in our survey. Next slide, please. In order to automate the calculation process, a special simulation model was developed, but rather the development is still underway. It provided the ability to track the process of calculation from the bottom to up. Thus, you can see the parameters of each formula operates with that result is given. It gives then each algorithm and then the methodology as well. So we can investigate everything from the bottom to up. All parameters used by the model are easy set and change it in special configuration files. And the model itself will be available as a cloud service for everyone as a public tool when it will be finished. Next slide, please. We plan to take data for calculations, first of all, from open sources. However, we already have plans to attract local experts who will help us with the verification of the initial data and with refinement of the parameters for better calculations. Next slide, please. It's just one example. For example, how we justify the labor cost of laying a cable with cable layer. We're really on the technological process that are prescribed in the regulations. And in this case, there are the regulations of my country, Ukraine. Therefore, of course, they will require clarification from the point of view of particular countries where we will be calculating everything, but this will not change the general principle. So we are trying to base everything on the technological processes. Next slide, please. So our methodology is, as I said already, in principle, automation is in the process, and I hope to complete this stage by the end of this month. And get the first result of calculation before the end of this year. Next slide, please. As in previous case, as a previous case, there is 3 questions for the survey. They are on the screen. Thank you very much for your attention, and as I understand, we will now have a block for questions and answers and for comments. Please feel free to do so. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Vadim. Dr. Vadim, for your very thoughtful presentations. We shall now move on to discussions, and we have 10 minutes more saved from the efficient time management of Vadim, of his interventions. So please, let's talk. Please feel free to raise your hand. I see a number of experts and policy makers that are actually dealing with the paradigm of the future. And if you want to raise your hand, after that, please request to speak. I see Mr. Marat and I see Mr. Zorikto, that would be the next one to speak. Try to make the time management available for all of us. So keep your intervention for 2 minutes. Thank you. Please go ahead. Mr. Marat, you need to unmute your mic and introduce yourself, and then please go ahead. You can speak in any language. While Marat is getting ready, Mr. Zorikto, I see the order, then I see.
Большое спасибо, коллеги. Надеюсь, меня хорошо слышно. Меня зовут Зарикто Гамбаин, и я представляю ФГУП НИР в данный момент в качестве эксперта. С удовольствием прослушал презентацию, которая сейчас была у нас на экране. Соответственно,
we just had on the screen. The first presentation on the dashboard was very interesting and promising because the idea based on knowledge-based practices is very promising, especially if you exercise a very comprehensive approach. And we are very interested in the results of this endeavor, especially in terms of how the quality of content will be provided and controlled in this dashboard, in this platform. This is one thing. And secondly, is how you plan to update this knowledge base. If we are talking about our specific field, we are always receiving new information, new projects, so it is very important to monitor this new upcomings. As far as the second project is concerned, we understand that we've got a lot of accomplishments in this field. Unfortunately, we didn't have a chance to look through all aspects of this project, but we are very hopeful that the accomplishments of this project will be very helpful to us, and we would like to see how this methodology will be beneficial for us on a later stages. I want to thank you again for this presentation. Thank you very much, Zarikto. We want to thank you for your continuous support, and I hope that you will get a chance to look through all the papers which we will send to you electronically into languages. Part of these materials are available on our website, and part of these papers will be presented in this meeting. I also see a request to speak on behalf of Oksana Tkachenko. My question is where to get finance and who will be in charge of this portal, ASCAP, government, or somebody else. Maybe this will be up to the international structures. Oksana, you represent Lean Finance. Please go ahead.
Yeah, obviously, my name is Oksana Tkachenko. I'm the founder of an Australian company, Lean Finance. I'm working with investors, public and private institutions and businesses to structure innovative funding platforms and to create investable solutions to drive high levels of private investments, which can be leveraged and de-risked by public funding. Effectively, by doing so, a bigger pool of investment capital is created to achieve increased impacts for societal resilience and well-being. I do have a couple of comments, and number one, of course, is about the infrastructure financing, and number two, I do have a direct question to Vadim about his wonderful modeling. So I'll probably stick with the financing comments first, and then I'll go into my question to Vadim. It's a well-known fact that in developing countries with a low income per capita and with relatively low population density, sometimes financing constraints is very severe. And to fund infrastructure is not just a matter of one particular entity or one government. The funding is critical for infrastructure deployment and e-resilience. As rightfully outlined in Vadim's presentation, the success in building effective infrastructure is dependent on other sectors and multi-sector partnerships, cooperations, and different levels of funding with different levels of risk tolerance. Such engagement can mitigate risks, demonstrate market potential, enhance institutional and other capacities, and stimulate demand for ICT services and any other infrastructure. So things to consider in any modeling or in any policy making for the local infrastructure is how can we reform policies to bring together multi-stakeholders' financial resources to support infrastructure development and resilience? How can we enhance and incentivize the attractiveness of local markets for external and internal local investors? And most importantly, what are the next steps and action to enable quick mobilization of that funding support? And how can we innovate of funding mechanism, very flexible mechanism for the purpose of deploying infrastructure in the region to ensure the resilience? So these are the high-level comments for the financing of the infrastructure. Then my direct comment to Vadim is, I understand the modeling probably is still evolving, and it is crucial to consider the usage of natural resources whilst creating any infrastructure, whether this is for the transport, water, energy, ICT infrastructure. So it would be interesting to see how social, environmental impact assessments are embedded in any of this modeling. And of course, that will probably change the return on investment model as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Oksana. I see the raised hand from Farid from ITU. Please take the floor, Farid. Please unmute your mic. Next speaker should be get ready, Marat, and then I see Janat. Farid, we will get back to you. Okay, Marat or Farid, one of you, please unmute your mics and then go ahead. Yes, please, Marat, introduce yourself, but we still can't hear you. You may need to use headphones to be connected. Okay, now we see you, but very black, very dark screen. Okay, great. We can't hear you. Марат, please go ahead. Вы можете выступить. Мы вас видим очень хорошо. Да. Если не удастся подключить микрофон, может быть, вы позже ответите.
Marat, if you won't be able to switch on your mic, probably later on you could request on our survey and try to hook up your headphones, and then we will have a proper connection. I see Janat as Basava. Please, Janat. Our technology has some lag, and that is why there should be a couple of seconds of lag out before you will get connected. Please, Janat, switch on your mic and we are ready to hear you. Considering this pause, I would like to ask experts from speaker countries. I see Azerbaijan, Afghanistan. Please, Amil Akhmatov, representative of Azerbaijan, go ahead.
And good morning from Baku to Mrs. Tiziana Bonaparte, Aida, to you and to all UNESCAP member. And thank you very much, Mr. Vadim Kaptur, for your great presentation. My name is Emil Ahmadov. I represent Ministry of Transport, Communication and High Technology, International Cooperation Department. Well, thank you so much again for this presentation. Of course, Azerbaijan have experience in co-deployment along the Trans-Asian, Trans-European road network, about which I have talked broadly during last transport committee. And this is good that I represent at the same time ICT Ministry and at the same time transport. Therefore, it's close to us. But of course, in terms of technical content, and there's a content which should be considered detailed by relevant stakeholder. But generally, I would say that we are interested on it, and you have a great job, and really we are interested on implementation, and we're looking forward for implementation of this project. But because, as we see, this database, or how it's a single information portal, so which contain about information about planet and existing infrastructure project, and this sure will facilitate the coordination and cooperation for infrastructure, because sometimes during the UNESCO meeting we see that it creates for the future the lack of coordination between relevant stakeholders, and of course it will improve transparency. But when it comes to the portal, there was some questions about it could be as a part of the government investment or outside of government. My point of view that there should be, in terms of Azerbaijan, it's our point of view as a representative of government. I am not the experts who should be considered. The government investment should be there. That's it from our side. Thank you very much.
Yes, it's about accountability, responsibility, and we hear you. The investment should be also organized from government and also private sector.
Exactly.
Yes. Thank you. So no notes taken. I would like to give the floor further to Janat and Farid. If you are available, please go ahead. The floor is yours. I hope you fixed your mic. Great. Janat, introduce yourself. Yeah.
Доброе утро, уважаемые участники. Надеюсь, меня слышно.
Good afternoon, distinguished participants. I hope you can hear me okay. Finally, we fixed the problem with my mic. I am the representative of Kustana Engineer Economic University based in Kazakhstan. We're very interested in this project and would like to come up with the following proposal. Probably we will be able to take part in this project as we have an experience in participating in various international projects, including the ICT one. We also have specialists in the field of transport and servicing sectors, and this project is extremely interesting for us. I want to thank again Dr. Kaptur for his excellent presentation. We could be partners. We could be partners in a part of this project, and we could help implementing the project. Thank you, Shanat. We are very pleased to hear your comments, and please also consider our survey and fill it up. We are looking forward to hear from you again based on your responses to this survey. Let us continue. Janat, please stay with us. And next, I would like to give a floor to Farid from Moscow, representative of ITU. Please, Farid, go ahead. And those who have already spoke out could release your mics. Good morning. Good morning. This is Farid on the line. Good morning. I'm very glad that I made it. My name is Farid Naktiv, ITU regional branch based in Moscow, Russian Federation. Thank you for having me in this meeting. I would like to comment on Vadim Kaptur's presentation regarding information portal creation. As you know, we are focusing on ICT development and member states such as the Ministry of Digital Development, Communication, and others, the principle of co-deployment, such as transport and energy infrastructure lines, is proven way to increase benefits from infrastructure development. That is why we are welcoming SCAP endeavors in this regard. In addition, on the Regional Development Forum, we've got a similar type of proposal from the Development Airspace Industry Ministry from Republic of Kazakhstan, and they mentioned, quote, that it is very important to secure co-deployment from various stakeholders, end of quote. And that is why those proposals which we could consider today, it is very important to consider requests from member states on these projects. And the key factor for success would be the relevance of data and the timeliness of data appearance on this portal. And I think that this relevance could be achieved only through active involvement of various stakeholders like operators of various infrastructure projects, both at early stage and at the stage of project implementation. So continuous cooperation with the stakeholders is a key for success for this project. We could attract our own stakeholders through our own contact list to this portal. And this is what I'm thinking about this portal. Thank you again. Thank you for it again. We are very pleased to hear from you. We will continue this conversation, but so far I would like to give a floor to Vadim. Vadim, you would like to respond. I see you in the request list. Please, Vadim, go ahead. Vadim, while you are preparing to speak, we have a number of other participants in the request list. Yes, thank you, Aida. I would like to respond on the questions raised by the participants. And first of all, I would like to thank all of you for your questions and for your interest. In fact, this is a question from a representative of Russian Federation, and I think it is very important to think about quality management system for our portal. And one of the way how we would do this, we first of all collect this information, and for this we have a number of experts and line ministries. In terms of relevance of this information and timeliness of this information, we would like to hear your opinion how to provide relevance of this information. We would like to hear your opinion in this regard in the survey. And answering Oksana's question, I would like to say that in our survey, in terms of finding partners for the model, we are not focusing exclusively on economic aspects, but we are also thinking about the social and environmental risks. And we will have a matrix for decision making in order to finally get the best combination based on two factors. First of all, what partner could offer to the project, and secondly, what will be the benefit from the project for a specific partner. We will take into consideration all those factors. Thank you, Vadim. I see Kyrgyzstan.
Raise your hand. We still have 10 minutes. You can express your points. ITT LLDC Director Odbayar, if you are ready, please raise your hand and request to speak. Using this opportunity, let me invite Mr. Altay from Kyrgyzstan, or Almaz. Do you have any comments now? Okay. I'm sure you're connected because we see you. How about representative from Afghanistan, Mr. Javed Hussain Azali? The floor is yours. Thank you. Please introduce yourself, and you can take up to 2 minutes to express your feedback.
Okay, hello everyone. Thank you for having me in this meeting. I'm actually a little late for the meeting. I apologize for that. So far that I have been involved in this meeting, I would like to express my interest also to this project, and I think this project will make also many opportunities for us. I am a representative of Minister of Communication and IT from Afghanistan.
Please, yes, very welcome. Your support points are very important for us. So, especially in the early stages of development of both portal and simulation models, we should stay connected, and please write directly to Vadim. I also see our colleagues from Kyrgyzstan. Can I offer the floor now? If you are not ready yet, then I will invite Mr. Otbayar from Ulaanbaatar. Or Mr. Dulgun. We have our colleagues, our partners from the international think tank for least developed, landlocked developed countries. Mr. Otbayar, the floor is yours.
Hello?
Yes, please.
Hi, good day, everyone. It's nice to be part of this very important online meeting. Hi to everyone. Hi to Farid and Vadim. It's very nice talking to you again. Let me just give you a very general statement here. We, the International Think Tank for Landlocked Developing Countries, are fully supporting this project, and we are happy to continue our cooperation with ESCAP and the member states because not only because we are willing and interested in working with you all, and also in pursuit of the implementation of the Vienna Program of Action and the SDGs, but also because this would be a great continuation of our cooperation, which we have started a long time ago. And also because we also successfully co-organized the event last year in Ulaanbaatar. And our team here stands ready to work with you and work with the member states. And also Vadim and our think tank has been in contact with each other in using and jointly using and utilizing already existing systems of simulation and other research methods existing here at the think tank. So we think we will be a very interesting and also very useful sort of addition to the work already being successfully carried out by ESCAP. And on the other hand, this would also mean very successful continuation of our cooperation with the United Nations ESCAP. Unfortunately, we cannot organize joint events in Bangkok anymore like we used to do over the last 5-6 years because of the COVID pandemic. But I think with this project and with the continuation of our efforts to help in the area of ICT co-deployment, I think we're on a good way. And me and my team, we are still standing ready to work with you guys, and wish all the participants a successful meeting. And we will be here, and let's continue to talk about it. And find the way, the best way to help landlocked developing countries, and also SPECA countries, we would be very happy to do so. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Odbaya, and warm welcome to you from Bangkok to Ulaanbaatar. I also would like to follow up with our experts from Uzbekistan and Kyrgyzstan. I see Shohrbek Nazarov. Do you have now time? We have time for you to make some interventions. You need to request to speak by pressing the button, the blue button on the right-hand side. Yes, thank you. The floor is yours, Shohrbek.
Hello, I'm really pleased to be here. Beg your pardon that we just were late because we just faced some technical difficulties. On behalf of our development agencies, I would like just to state that we hope that our future cooperation will be successful, that Aida Karajanova mentioned. And if you have, quite recently, we just held jointly with ATP countries an event that stressed the high topicality of ICT, specifically in COVID pandemic time, and with hope that technologies and innovations will help us just to support our connectivity and will help us resolving these issues. Thank you very much. Thank you, Shohrbek, for your support and for your comment and your feedback. We're going to work further. Dear colleagues, we have a chance now to meet online actually every day. So there is such a program, there is such application, mobile application, community of practice for SDG help desk.
All of you to take part in the community of practice where you can express your opinions in a closed group. This closed group consists of participants from SPECA working group. We also have a separate group for RESI countries where only Mongolia, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan can work together for the benefit of these corridors and other ideas. And we also you can also open your own groups in that space where we can share our ideas and then give some comments and then the feedback. But today we will give you opportunity to fill up the survey where all the questions that Vadim has raised during his two presentations are raised. So you will have opportunity to go more in deep into details of specifics, technical specifications of both portal and methodology of the simulation models. Actually, Secretariat offers this tool to practice not only in the countries of SPECA, but we hope that RESI countries would benefit, but we hope that the tool will be beneficiary to other member states. So in this regard, it was good to hear from Odbaya that there will be some interest and support from the center to contribute to the work of both analytical products. So we still have like 5 minutes, but if Kyrgyzstan is not ready, I would like to give the floor for Almas and Altai. If they will not come back to me in next few seconds, I think we will, without any ado, we will go to the next session. Do we have any other volunteers to speak? I see a lot of people online. All right, so let's continue and with these discussions offline, and we will now proceed to the next session. Before we go to the next session, let me go through the backdrop. I think most of you have seen their website. You received multiple emails from us with attachments of presentations. And maybe for those who joined us quite recently, I will take a floor and show you where we are now, right? So we just finished the opening session and the first discussions within the session 1 on the partnership portal for co-deployment of ICT infrastructure with road transport and energy infrastructure. So we also looked at the development phase of toolkit for determining of the most promising models for the new promising transport corridors. They may have in future their status of smart corridors. During discussions, experts provided their feedback. We have heard from experts from countries of SPECA and RESI, and also from the sub-regional institutions and international organizations like ITT, LLDC, and also ITU. We had one intervention from Australia on financing and blending financing mode, and this was the ending of the first program. So within the next session, thank you very much for having this nice, good food for thoughts. Instead of going out for the break, we really welcome you for this wonderful session, which will discuss overview of the indices and SWOT in relation to e-resilience of ICT infrastructure and networks, and also on ICT for societal resilience. During this session, there will be 2 presentations delivered by Elena Diakonova, ISCAP consultant, and Aida. I will talk about the resilience framework. Stay with us for another 25 minutes, and then we will have half an hour, maybe more, for discussions where we will give you the floor to express your feedback to the proposed model of monitoring of e-resilience. So with this, let's go. Let's invite Elena. She has a few slides for us, and let's welcome Elena. She did a wonderful overview of a number of indexes, and 2 of them will be presented right away. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Aida, and good morning, dear colleagues. My name is Elena Diakonova. Next slide, please. Our team has recently done the research through the information available in internet. The search revealed the availability of many ICT-specific and other general indices, but nevertheless, we found out that the countries still lack a comprehensive instrument which could help them to assess the information and communication technologies, ICTs, from the perspective of crisis preparedness and risk management. So now we will take a brief look at 2 of the indices which we found, namely this e-government development index and the network readiness index, including their backgrounds and components. And we also will do a short analysis from the perspective of the applicability for evaluation of the e-resilience. Next slide, please. The e-government development index has been tracked by the United Nations Department of Economic and Social Affairs, UNDESA, since 2001, and the e-government surveys are published over a 2-year period. It is the only global report that assesses the e-government development status of all United Nations member states. Its main purpose is to measure the readiness and capacity of national institutions to use ICTs to deliver their public services. Next slide, please. I would like to mention that UNESCO contributed to Chapter 3 of the latest 2020 report with the information of Asia-Pacific regional priority areas and initiatives. The EGDI, e-Government Development Index, is a composite index based on the weighted average of 3 most important dimensions of e-government. The number 1 is Telecommunication Infrastructure Index, TII, representing the status of the development of telecom infrastructure, and this component based on data provided by the International Telecommunication Union, ITU. Number 2 is Human Capital Index, HCI, based on data mainly provided by UNESCO. And number 3 is Online Service Index, OSI, which covers the scope and quality of national online services of all 193 United Nations member states. This index is based on data collected by UN Department of Economic and Social Affairs. Next slide, please. Each of these 3 indices is also a composite measure, which can be extracted and analyzed independently. Let's now take a closer look on the contents of these 3 components of EGDI. The TII component is built on 4 basic indicators. It's the number of internet users per 100 inhabitants, number of active mobile broadband subscriptions, number of mobile subscribers per 100 inhabitants, and last one is the number of fixed broadband subscriptions per 100 inhabitants. As I already mentioned, this data comes from ITU. The component named Human Capital Index, HCI, is also consists of 4 components. It's adult literacy rate, the combined primary, secondary, and tertiary gross enrollment ratio, the expected years of schooling, and the average years of schooling. This data comes from UNESCO. The online service index component of EGDI is another composite indicator which is built on data from independent online service questionnaire collected by a group of researchers under the supervision of UNDESA, and it's complemented by member state questionnaire. This survey assesses the technical features of national websites as well as the government policies and strategies. The latest online service questionnaire consists of a list of 148 questions which imply the binary responses. The total number of points scored by each country for each index inside EGDI is normalized to a range of 0 to 1 by using the established methodology. Next slide, please. Let's now move to the next global index called the Network Readiness Index. The Network Readiness Index was initially launched in 2002 with the World Economic Forum. In 2019, last year, it has been redesigned by its founders and now is being collected and analyzed under the auspices of the Portolands Institute. It reflects how the technology and people need to be integrated with the effective governance structure in order to have the right impact on the economy, society, and the environment. The latest 2020 NRI is the 13th version of report, and it is focused on digital transformation. It ranks a total of 134 economies based on their performance across 60 indicators. Next slide, please. The structure and collection of NRI metrics provide us with a framework for analyzing the 3 important questions of digital transformation. You can see these questions on your screens. And it covers different aspects of widening digital divide, its possible consequences, future of jobs, building a better future for all, and other important questions. Next slide, please. NRI index is grounded in 4 fundamental dimensions or so-called pillars: technology, people, governance, and impact. These pillars are split further into more focused sub-pillars, and at the bottom level eventually come to the kit of 60 diverse indicators. Technology is at the heart of the network economy. This pillar therefore seeks to assess the level of technology through 3 sub-pillars: access, which is the fundamental level of ICT structure and affordability in the countries. The content, representing the type of digital technology and the content applications that can be produced and locally deployed, and the future technologies, considering the extent to which countries are prepared for the new technologies such as an artificial intelligence, Internet of Things, and so on. The next pillar, people pillar, is
Следующее это
at the individual, businesses, and governments level. The next pillar, governance, includes trust, regulation, and inclusion. Trust, in this context, evaluates the actual safety of individuals and companies in the context of the network economy. This relates to not only actual security, but also to the perceptions of the safety and privacy by the people. The regulation subpillar refers to the extent to which the government promotes participation in the network economy through regulation. And inclusion covers the different aspects of digital divides within countries in the context of gender, disabilities, and socioeconomic status divide. The last pillar, impact, seeks to assess the economic, social, and human impact of participation in the network economy in the context of the also in the context of the SDGs contribution. Next slide, please. In the table on this slide, it represents some results of analysis of these two indices in relation to their applicability for e-resilience monitoring. The strength of both indices is related mostly to their wide recognition and acceptance by governments as a useful tools supporting and monitoring the development of ICT in different dimensions. Also, both indices evaluate a wide range of indicators for most of the countries, and EGDI is available for all United Nations member states. The weaknesses, of course, in relation to e-resilience monitoring, is that both indices are by design focused to other aspects of digital technologies development, so they do not measure the resilience, the e-resilience by design. As I already mentioned, EGDI is mainly focused on ICTs for public services, and NRI is focused on digital transformation. The opportunities. We think that the structured use of the wide range of components of these two indices can provide us with a good opportunity for forming the e-resilience monitoring dashboard. And in addition, both indices are published on a regular basis, which gives also an opportunity, if we wish, for monitoring the e-resilience in dynamic. Next slide, please. I would also like to mention that the reports presenting both indices are very interesting and insightful, and I would recommend you to read through the latest 2020 reports if you haven't done so yet. I would also like to recommend you to read the SCAP report on e-resilience, where you can find some more analysis on other indices. This report is available in English and Russian languages, and the hyperlinks to all these reports you can find on the last page on my presentation. These links are also available on the web page of our webinar. So in conclusion, I would like to ask you to think over the two questions that you see now on the screen. And later share with us your thoughts during the final interactive session of our webinar. These questions are, in your opinion, what priority areas should the resilience monitoring framework focus on? And second question is, what indicators should form the framework for monitoring the resilience? You can consider not only ICT-related indicators, but also those related to energy, transport, and risk management indicators. So that's all from my side. I will now give the floor back to my colleague Aida, who will tell you more about the concept of resilience monitoring framework. And I thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Elena, for this very comprehensive and very interesting presentation. Dear colleagues, you can also listen to the YouTube discussions for each index. For example, NRI index when it was launched, there was a very a good panel which looked around the different pillars and different aspects of development, including the human-centric approach. So with this, let me please share with you a few slides where I would present our SCAP approach. We try to help member states to organize the monitoring of resilience and to show the role of actually ICT in the crisis period. This role is actually, and the period is accompanied with a large increase in internet usage and data traffic. And this is also caused by social distancing, and we are shifting to online applications, services, and tools. And actually, we're talking about new digital economy. And this role of ICT is becoming and growing as unprecedented. So various digital tools help governments to slow down of COVID-19. We did monitor the people's contacts in real time. We looked at real-time observations. And as Elena mentioned, the paper that we have presented for you in 2 languages is actually providing an overview of experiences and lessons learned, and identified some policy priorities and areas for regional cooperation. So in this paper, we also propose a cooperation framework that sets out guiding principles and define tasks for the periods of recovery and preparedness for new crises. I would like to also share with you in this presentation some approaches on monitoring through dashboard, as Mr. Tiziana said earlier, and also to help us to identify the right metrics so we can manage the process of recovery more smoothly. And I will cover our approach, also propose some DRR indicators, and showcase other visualization tools. The e-resilience framework from pandemic management perspective looks and finds its foundation in a number of pillars of risk prevention, risk reduction, preparedness, application and response, and recovery phase. So we as a SCAP are looking at this from 2 dimensions, and we wonder what are the tools member states are now processing and operating to increase resilience of ICT infrastructure itself and its networks, and also how ICT is being used for societal resilience. So this is a very hot momentum, and our paper is proposing a monitoring model, where we looked at the e-resilience from the government policy perspective. We looked at the ICT, which is creating new systems. It's actually a system creation tool, and it's creating new structures. We have been also listening to EGDI index and the ranking of the countries and the different level of success and progress. The other interesting pillar or thematic area, as we say, is ICT role in the cycle of national level data management. because the most resilient community is the one who is prepared and informed, and the real data management capacity of ICT plays a crucial role. When we talk about level of development of ICT infrastructure, this area actually covers all other sectors of development. And here, from a SCAP perspective, we are focusing on ICT co-deployment with road transport and energy infrastructure, which could be one of the tools and modalities to showcase the e-resilience. I have not mentioned specifically the DRR tools here, but these are embedded and inclusive within the government policy framework, which is supporting the ICT infrastructure. So we, in our early analysis, propose e-resilience by 4 components, as mentioned in the previous circled slides. And we divided these 4 components into 7 pillars and picked up 47 indicators from NRI and EGDI. And here I will just list up few of them for your attention. We go through the legend. We use traffic lights to showcase how the countries are grouped and based on their economies, how ready they are. For example, the red color, which is a low e-resilience, would show the least network-ready economy in the pillar of this component of within the government policy and regulations. This status requires more investments, inclusiveness, or support from other member states to achieve this resilience. The orange color, or more pink, we say, right, depending on what the screen you're looking at, actually would unite some countries with economies that do not perform well enough in the pillar or component concerned. So there are 4 components, and the transition from this component to the other one require more resources and capacity building and investment to achieve better e-resilience from technical perspective and societal. We also have yellow, which is more neutral, where the economy is a good performer, and when it comes to the pillar or component concerned, at the same time there is a good room for improvement, which requires some more resources and capacity building to become more resilient. Light green and dark green are the colors that would showcase that the economy is quite strong performer within the solid illustrations of the different success of the decision-making processes, and these countries are ready to share experiences and services and tools with those who are in need and choose to partner. So the dark green would show that the economies are global leaders and most network maybe connected, and they're ready societies for performing the highest level within the index pillar. And I have a few slides to illustrate the component, like these 4 components for some countries in SPECA and Mongolia, because Mongolia is also part of the RESI member states. RESI target countries are Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, and Mongolia. So you see the yellow color show that it's a neutral space for NRI index, and indicator set is also shown to you. We have chosen 10 indicators where cybersecurity, secure internet, ICT regulatory environment are included. So this actually this policy, governmental policy enabler is also looking at the ease of doing the business and organizing its legal framework, adaptability to emerging technologies. We also can consider the education aspects and have a few indicators that are related to adult literacy and also research and development expenditures by governments. I wonder if gender aspects could be also highlighted and indicators could be proposed. So the second component is a level of development of ICT infrastructure. So we have just selected for the space available within the slide only 5 countries, and you could see we have different performance in different components from technological perspective and also from the human perspective, where the human capacity index and the component and people pillar also manifests itself as one of the strongest. And you see on the right-hand side at the bottom the choice of indicators that we picked up from NRI and the EGDI index that Elena presented earlier. A very interesting component for all of us to consider is ICT's role in the cycle of national level data management. As we mentioned earlier, we are looking at the number of very energy and data intensive technological tools. And here the real data management would be the performing factor that would help us to be resilient or respond to instant emergencies and provide opportunities to deal with that. So here we choose indicators that are related to Wikipedia edits, ICT skills, use of virtual social networks, publication and use of open data. So for each of these index, we have a number and the parameters, and we can color code them with different traffic lights. Oh, I closed it by mistake. So next component is related to ICT enabled that enables new formation of infrastructure. And as you could see, we color coded EGDI, which is showing the readiness of countries to deal with e-governance. And as you see in this country, most of the countries are more or less ready, with Azerbaijan and Kazakhstan being ahead within the SPECA and RESI country. So you could also analyze, maybe if now it's too early, but maybe you can get back to us on what indicators are missing beyond NRI and EGDI indexes. And if we would like to add them up, we can create that grouping. I would like also to cover in my presentation the few interesting tools that are proposed and indicators from the DRR perspective. Informed Risk Index is presented in an Excel table, and you could see from Excel table that is online, and if you don't have access, please let me know, I will send it to you. There are a number of interactive dashboards that you can pick up from the table, and you can see institutional and infrastructure categories of indexing. Inform also have an epidemic risk index that could be presented in a mapping format and also in different ways of tools. From our side, from DRR and IDD side, we have also looked at the ICT infrastructure which is exposed to earthquakes. And I have a few maps here for Mongolia, Kyrgyzstan, and Kazakhstan, where you see with the mapping exercise, we can analyze the exposure to the risk zones in the countries that we target. And here, our colleagues developed an interesting index, which is called Average Annual Loss Index. And why is it important? This index provides indicators of the amount of savings a nation needs to set aside each year to cover the cost of long-term losses from multiple hazards. You can actually analyze and read the document we have provided for you in 2 languages on our event page. And you could see that multi-hazard average annual loss is actually a long-term expected performance. We can look per year, and we can also average it over many, many years. This index provides a standardized estimate of projected losses and also calculates different magnitude of the potential recurrent natural disasters and events. So this is the performance of AAL in Central Asia by 2030. So we are looking at the future paradigm, and we see the different level of the index. So until now, AAL has only been estimated at national level. However, to build disaster resilience in the transport, ICT, and energy infrastructure, we need 2 things. We need to localize AAL and downscale to the provincial level, and we also need to add average annual loss from drought, which has not been estimated previously. So with this project, we have done this work for Kyrgyzstan, Kazakhstan, and Mongolia, and added drought AL to the existing AL and downscaled it for the same countries. So this assessment can be useful in understanding where additional resilience is needed and the opportunity costs on non-resilience. So a few slides on downscaled AL for Mongolia, Kyrgyzstan and Kazakhstan. So you can pick up all the messages. Just coming to the end of my presentation, we also can explore different visualization tools that our division can actually do because we have competent experts. For example, interactive maps. On the left-hand side, you see the map of internet speed, and as you could see, the bluer the color, the higher is the internet speed. For example, we are in Thailand. The speed we could see is very high, and then when we go further up, some countries are missing, so our job would be to fill it up. And we can also do the interactive dashboards, and in this regard, we are looking for expert and partnership and consultancy support to design these tools for the member states. As Elena mentioned earlier, the NRI and the GDI ranking, they are actually correlated, and I have this slide for you to show where we are standing within the globe in Asia Pacific. As you could see, we're in the middle, and Europe is ahead, with Africa requiring some attention for these both ranking indexes. Earlier, previously, we have covered the e-resilience through perception-based survey, and I have a few slides and reports on that you can also check through. So for discussions, let me propose for you a few questions. Please help us to identify the best indicators. As we summarize here, e-resilience can be presented through multi-tier visualization tools. And as a SCAP, we can offer you interactive dashboard and interactive maps. And maybe with your inputs, we can look at indicators that we should cover. And what monitoring model should be illustrating. And also, please cover in discussion what partnership opportunities the e-resilient framework should propose and how can we manifest it, starting with North and Central Asia. Thank you very much, and let's move now to discussion sessions. All right, now I'm in the hat of moderator. Dear colleagues, please raise your hands. We would be very happy to hear from you. I see Zarikto from Russian Federation. Please take the floor.
Большое спасибо, госпожа модератору. И,
Thank you very much, Madam Moderator, and for Aida for your great presentation, and Elena for your presentation as per indices. So this is quite a complicated topic for discussion. Quite often it is politicized, it's quite difficult to follow it sometimes and to develop it, but nevertheless it's one of the major issues to understand where we are. And for the first turn, speaking about major issues, we are talking about indices. For example, when we are talking about ICT index, I did not see it. I mean, ICT development index like ITU, for ITU, for example, is one of the major indices. But I could see NRR and other indices like NRI, and we're talking about the processes which will just be translated into some further processes. We have to be very cautious about what we think to be a good source for such data, background data. So therefore, and we also just face an issue of index collection. So this is quite well-known issue. I think we have to be underpinned by the ways available and sources available in our regions. So because, you know, for a statistical agency, just to collect more indices, so it's quite expensive thing. So therefore we have to proceed from what we have at the moment. Speaking about our regions, we have to think about our local context and our local lessons learned. Probably so the way that we followed for ICT index development, so it's quite similar to the processes and to other indices because it has similar backgrounds and similar challenges, and it will allow us to share our experiences in this regard. First of all, we have to focus on the fact that quite often indexes meet the level of economic development or do not meet. For example, we can see this correlation, like richer countries are at the top level and poorer countries are at lower levels, and that does not just support the idea of sector development. First of all, we are speaking about ICT sector, but it's not always true. Quite often, more developed countries still have certain gaps that they would like to improve or to fill in, and vice versa. And of course, such issues are specifics are really very important and interesting. And specifically, and in terms of dividing countries into more developed and less developed, we can say that index may be regulated and it may be control variable, and it can be just maybe we can group or categorize countries by certain indices rather than by the level of development. But these are just common comments and feedback. So we can see that they are underpinned by the common concept, which is which are just based on certain pillars, and therefore I would offer to proceed from what we study or what we measure or what we review, what e-resilience means, and then just to proceed from this terminology and substances to understand if these specifics exist in the region and whether they are, to what extent they are important. Thank you. Thank you for your feedback. We are going to follow up because you just raised quite an interesting issue. The next one, may I ask, may I invite Dr. Sama?
Dear colleagues, please press the blue button, request to speak. I see a number of experts online ready to work with us and to speak during the session. Please go ahead. You can also chat with us and let us know if you have issues. Okay, you and you, Mamela. Please introduce yourself. Okay.
Thank you very much. I confirm that you can hear me well.
Yes.
Thank you very much for the invitation to participate in this expert group meeting. My name is Mamela Tinyani. I'm a principal researcher at the United Nations University Institute in Macau, where our team is working on the Smart Citizen Cyber Resilience Project. And we are undertaking research to develop tools towards enhancing the resilience of civil society in smart digital futures. We observe that information and communication technologies has become part of the core infrastructure that supports societal functioning across different domains, from education, transport, health, economy, as well as at different levels, from individual, community, cities, countries, and the global level. ICT does not only support everyday functioning, it also supports the resilience of communities during disasters. And the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic has illustrated this poignantly. With the lockdowns, we see how businesses and schools and organizations have managed to continue through the use of ICT. So this really highlights the two notions of e-resilience, which have been highlighted excellently in this meeting: the resilience of ICT infrastructure, as well as the role of ICT to support societal resilience. When thinking about resilience of ICT infrastructure, we need to frame our discussions broadly, not only to think about the telecommunications networks, but we also need to think about the platforms, the services, and the apps that form part of the digital infrastructures that our societies depend on. So much as we need to engage with the critical infrastructure operators and owners, we also need to ensure that safe, secure, resilience engineering practices are employed in the apps and the services that millions of people around the world depend on for their daily lives. So further, besides these two notions of resilience, I would like to propose that we also seriously think about another closely related notion of resilience. That is the resilience of society to significant adverse cyber incidents. So once again, COVID-19 pandemic has shown how a significant increase in cyber threats, so for example, social engineering attacks, infodemic, misinformation attacks. So how do we ensure that there's continuity of societal life despite some of these imminent cyber-related threats, including data breaches, cyber fraud, disinformation, denial of service attacks, and in the future, even thinking about cyber warfare? So finally, communities, cities, and countries can only be as resilient as their weakest individual element. It is important that we recognize the active role that different societal stakeholders, including citizens, civil society, SMEs, private sector, public sector, are able to play in the co-production of national and societal cyber resilience. This is the focus of the work of our team at UNU Macau, and we are looking forward to working together with you and partnering with you towards enhancing cyber resilience in the region. Thank you.
Mamela, you had a slide. Would you like us to show it?
No, it's okay. That was just going to be the overview.
Dear colleagues, Mamela shared with us one slide that we have uploaded it on the event page. You can look through. He has highlighted the areas of their interest, and especially with the aspect of cybersecurity. I see Salma Abba ready to make a comment. Thank you, Mamela. So Salma, the floor is yours. Please introduce yourself. I know Salma is working with us today from UK, and it's a very early morning.
Very much. Can you hear me?
Yes, good morning.
Good morning. Thank you so much for the opportunity to join you today. My name is Dr. Salma Abbasi. I'm delighted to listen to the presentations that are directly in line with what we have been doing for the last 8 months, actually in collaboration with many of the stakeholders that are here today, in the context of building digital resilience to mitigate, respond, and rebuild from COVID-19. In that context, through the period of time, we have had many discussions from governments regarding the nature of the broadband that has been used. As my colleague, Professor Mamelo, just said, completely agree with his comments that it is really necessary to look holistically. What has happened, we've transpiring by constant communication and the applications of technology to support the response activities for the pandemic. Many holes have been identified in which way governments have looked at investing in digital resilience. I think the earlier presentation this morning that talked about the new model, I think enabling a public-private partnership with people at the center is the only way to build resilience, whether it, as Mamalo said, that in the context of cyber resilience, but I also think with data. One of the biggest problems that has arisen in this pandemic is the vital for government to have access to our data, but at the same time, the necessity of trust. So in the framework and the dashboard, I'm happy to see the critical element that was identified as trust. So we in the West, if you will, region by region, there are different degrees of confidence or lack of confidence with data use and abuse, and especially the fast growing AI and deep machine learning that is going on, which is vital for prediction and disaster, but at the same time, it's being commercially exploited. So as we look at policy reforms, we have identified some strategic areas in two critical elements I would like to suggest we consider further discussion, particularly in the CIS regions as we rebuild and we see the numbers in the dashboard, that we need to acknowledge that we do need to have standards in place that we can share, global standards. And it would be very interesting to have them evolve from ESCAP and the CIS countries and bring it to the international platform for us all to acknowledge and adopt. This is one way that I can see us to reduce the issue of data exploitation. The second part is a point of an innovative model that we have been discussing, and I think it's very relevant for the rebuilding efforts that are going on in Uzbekistan in the context of considering smart villages for the SDGs, smart villages for agriculture industrialization, and to address the issue of food insecurity. Again, with this, having a resilient, cyber-secure e-commerce platform is the only way to promote fast tracking the resilience at the grassroots, and of course, building a digital economy as we digitize our countries. Thank you very much. I look forward to further discussions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Salma, for raising up to the higher level of our future paradigm. I see Amir from Thailand. Amir works, I know Amir from the past. He's an expert on monitoring and of the programs and different level of systems. So Amir, please go ahead, 2 minutes.
Thank you so much, Aida. Can you hear my voice?
Yes.
It's clear.
Well.
Yeah, thanks again for having this opportunity to be part of this meeting today. Good morning and good afternoon to everyone all around the world. So I'm also based in Thailand. It's afternoon here. So I've been fortunate enough to be engaged in part of the process of this work, really great and very complex work. And I really like to maybe echo the voice of Professor Mamelo and also Ms. Salama Abbasi. Actually, I always agree that we really need to have more holistic approach when we talk about e-resilience, and especially on the part of how ICT transforming and making our societies more resilient, especially against this pandemic, because we have different disasters, we have different situations. But when it comes specifically to this pandemic situation, I think really need to review again and to focus more on the system and also the components of the whole system, especially it comes to healthcare, for example. I mean, we really need to maybe develop further or indicators, because when I review the indicators related to ICT systems, I may actually say that maybe we have missed, or maybe we really need to develop some more indicators more related to e-resilience, especially on the role of ICT to make our societies, especially during this kind of disaster situations, more resilient. For example, the percentage of our practitioners in the health systems who can use the different platforms, existing platforms in the health system. And these are some items really missing in some countries. That's why even when we have the connectivities, I'm originally from Iran, and I could see that even having good network in Iran, the health system actually could not really maybe manage enough to provide the health services to the people, because we are lacking actually some platforms. And our doctors and the health system actually maybe couldn't afford actually to take care of the patients. So using ICT systems. So this is just one example, and the same applies to education system. How many platforms and what sort of platforms we are using in education. So maybe we need to review again all these indicators, and this is really some really good works could be done by the countries' participations, because we have different capacities, different infrastructures in different countries. But really we need to focus on resilience, and of course ICT and resilience, and to come up maybe with some new ideas and maybe more more indicators to help the countries to have a better monitoring. Because if we want to have a good monitoring, first we need to have good indicators, and that's why we really need to develop the indicators. So yeah, that was just a comment from my side, and I appreciate again having this opportunity to be part of this meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Amir, for your support and raising the very important point on holistic approach. And let's continue this discussion and then look at the whole spectrum of what we can pick up from the existing accepted indicators and those which are recognized by member states. All right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Maria. We have 30 minutes, so we have heard from global and regional experts, and we would be very happy to hear their views from national experts from our member states. Please, the floor is open. You can take your 2 minutes. You can do it a few times. We have altogether half an hour to go ahead with these discussions. Please raise your hand. I don't see any request. Can I invite anyone who is ready? I see ITT LLDC, Mr. Dulgun from Ulaanbaatar. Are you available? Would you like to give feedback? I also see Mr. Altai Belekov from Kyrgyzstan. Any ideas on where are we going? Do you have any comments? Also Javed Hussain from Afghanistan. Odbaya, Mara, Janat, Amir, just made your point, right? Shokurbek, you have any suggestions? Any feedback for the framework? So, dear colleagues, Elena highlighted a few questions, and also in my presentation, we have listed a few questions that you may provide your feedback both verbally and in writing. And one of the questions that we would like to hear your answer from is, in your opinion, what focus area from e-resilience monitoring framework the different pillars should pick up and focus? Also, we have we have picked up 4 thematic areas: level of ICT development. Also, we looked at the government policy, ICT's role in the cycle of national data management, and also ICT-enabled formation of new structures. So if you can look through the indicator set that we have chosen and analyze it and let us know what is missing and what would you like to propose. In the survey, which is online, we will provide a QR code. You can pick those indicators or propose your own. We also have a question for you on what other sector-specific areas should be highlighted. And Amir mentioned today that the health sector should be better reflected. And we also heard from Salma that we need to have a people-centric approach, which is also holistic, and cybersecurity should be also having a better performance indicators. We also trying to link our session 2 with session 1, and maybe you can offer some indicators that would be relating to ICT application in energy or ICT application in road transport infrastructure, and maybe you can propose some interesting indicators or indexes. So with these different packages of knowledge sets, I'm opening the floor for discussions. This is a technical meeting. You are free to express your ideas, your suggestions, your comments, your constructive criticism. And I don't see yet anyone raising hand. That's why I keep talking. Please, maybe Shuhrbek, maybe experts from Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan. Okay, I see Vadim and then Zorikto. Please, Vadim, the floor is yours.
Спасибо, Аида. Я единственное, что хотел добавить, большое спасибо за ваши презентации, очень
Thank you, Aida. And first of all, thank you for your presentation. Very interesting ideas and a system of indicators you presented there. I already probably announced this project, which is at the stage of completion. That is the report of ITU, the report which is based on our survey of the former Soviet Union countries on the development stage of broadband access in these nations and the various aspects applicable, such as the PPP, the Human Development Index, and others. And one of the aspects of this survey is not only to analyze the progress which we have achieved so far there, because they all started from one point when they got independence after the Soviet Union dismissal. They picked up since then their own way for development, but also that is the point of legal frameworks compatibility. And this survey is an excellent opportunity to see where every country is, and respectively to find some common applicable points, but also to see which countries are mostly compatible from the standpoint of application of the experience which was accumulated by the country leaders in the former Soviet Union space, which gives us a chance not only to see the level of every country development, but also to check their compatibility versus various stages of development, because obviously it would be better to be focused on a country which are mostly close to the other one in terms of for instance, a legislation framework, rather than to try to pair countries which are not so easy to make compatible with each other due to various differences. That is why we would like to pair countries through the prism of their compatibility. And this would be a very interesting approach, very promising approach for our project. Thank you. Your report is already released. No, it is at the final stage, and it should be soon, very soon, be released in the near future. Thank you. I think these national components are very important. Zarikto, please, we can give you a mic now. Yes, sir. Thank you very much. I apologize, Madam Moderator, for requesting the floor. I actually would like to speak as a representative of subgroup on liberalization. We are currently working over the indices, and for us it is very interesting to review various global and regional approach respectively. We are reviewing these indices, we are trying to compare them with each other. We are ready for cooperation, and we would like to see what we could adapt, and on the other hand we could also to contribute from our side as well to this process. Thank you. So these are good news, and we exchanging within this past 2.5 hours very promising news, and I would just like to invite every participant of this webinar. We would like to welcome your cooperation and Of course, there are significant restrictions in terms of physical offline communication in the time of pandemic, but on the other hand, we try to make the best of our online technologies. And as you see, we have experts here from Ukraine, Russian Federation, Australia, and others. These are the partners which are ready to assist our Central Asian partners. So we are also working with UNU from Macau, as Mr. Manello reported, and the countries themselves, representatives of their ministries of foreign affairs and other line ministries, those who are initiating legislation and others. Every participants, in other words, expressed their interest to cooperate with each other. We plan to hear from 50 countries, more than 70 people were assigned and enlisted to this webinar. In fact, most of them probably were, we make them scared a little bit in terms of limited capacity of CUDA. That is why most of them are now referred to YouTube. But anyway, we will get in contact with each other. We will keep each other posted, because I still see experts who could speak with the microphone here. I am ready to listen to you. We still have 10 minutes left for this group discussion. And if representatives of Uzbekistan, Kyrgyzstan, Kazakhstan, Afghanistan willing to speak.
But this is just to make the bridging between interventions more smooth. Okay, Odbaya, would you like to say something about indicators and the framework? Thank you.
Can you hear me now?
Now, yes, please unmute, yes.
Okay. Not very much about the framework, but I just have, because it's a technical meeting, I just thought I raised two questions that just really came to my mind. I hope you don't mind, but I think it has great value to the entire framework and the project and so on and so forth. So one would be rather a general one about the private sector. I mean, I've looked at the presentations, and Vadim and the others maybe can also elaborate on that. The pillars, I've looked at the pillars and indicators, but somehow we haven't, or I haven't looked at it in detail. The private sector, I mean, how do we sort of calculate or cope with the possible or potential unwillingness of the private sector to participate in this endeavor and to make it, I mean, we cannot really rely on the, let's say, the investments from the side of the government or state itself, because especially in Mongolia and other LLDCs, the ICT readiness and resilience is heavily depending on the private sector itself. And according to the VPOA, the Vienna Program of Action and the SDGs, the participation of the private sector is crucial. So maybe I have missed that, but that would be my first question. How effectively have we planned to sort of talking to the private sector or engaging them in our endeavors to have the most sustainable and sort of effective outcome? Second question would be directly to Vadim. Vadim, you have seen our simulation, right? Like from last year, we have done this economic impact simulation on the Mongolia-China-Russia corridor. And at the moment, it is the only one which is existing here in Mongolia at this corridor. To be honest, that carried out by an independent intergovernmental organization. And as you know, the system we use is the IDE GSM JETRO model, which is also being used by ADB and World Bank. How do you see this model compared to your model you are talking about in your presentation? I just wanted to hear your expert opinion on the effectiveness and on the accuracy of the simulation model from a researcher's perspective. Thank you.
Thank you, Bea. Vadim, please take a floor. I think you still have 5 minutes. And maybe Dr. Salma can also talk. Yeah. Vadim, maybe not more than 2 minutes because we have more people.
So thank you very much for this question. And when we're talking about the models and their comparison, it is important to have some basis. And of course, we will be using also the all other relevant models that already exist to justify the basic parameters that will allow us to calculate everything with more effective precision, and how we will use. When our model will be ready, we will be ready to compare everything and to try to identify the problems, if any. And also, it is important to understand that the more detailed parameters we will have from the local countries, the more accurate will be calculations, and the accurate will be calculation results. Also taking into account your comment about attracting private sector, in our simulation model, in our methodology, we are trying to identify not only as a partners, we try to identify not only governments or state budgets, but also the private partners on the different levels, and trying to demonstrate them all benefits from the implementation of the project that we are developing. So if, for example, some local business that will receive some benefits from the implementation of new road or creation new fiber optical cable line, our target is to demonstrate to this partner the possible benefits, and not only financial, as I said earlier, but also the social and the different others. As Aida already said, we are open for the cooperation, and we will be sharing everything with all interested experts to justify our mentioning and our assumptions that made within the simulation models. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Salma. Yes, Dr. Salma, please. The E-Worldwide group actually organized a series of interesting technical workshops related to e-resilience and people-centric approach. Dr. Salma, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. I muted myself by mistake. I think these questions are very good, particularly how to incentivize the private sector. I have not worked in the CIS countries yet, but inshallah, I'm hoping very soon to work there with the Islamic Development Bank. And what I would like to bring to the table, I think the work that ESCAP is doing with the indicators is really critical at this time as countries invest in digital transformation. But one of the things we have to do with our policy reform is actually make it more, as I think Osaka Osana was asking the question about how do you incentivize as well. So the question is the same. And I think the idea of co-location, sharing the infrastructure with private sector from multiple sectors, not just from the telecom sector. The broadband infrastructure investment is significant, but there needs to be a clear demonstration of how this is going to support, for example, the supply chain logistics. We're now moving to smart logistics. We're looking at preserving food to address insecurities. So there's refrigeration, there's all types of industries that can actually ride on the infrastructure that's invested. So what I suggest is that some research is conducted to look at the different business models in the different geographical areas. I'm happy to collaborate and share some models that we have implemented in Africa. Even though it's a desert and has a rural community, I think a lot of that could actually align with what's required in Mongolia. Some examples from Pakistan would be very relevant too. But if we keep in our mind people-centered economy and the holistic view, it's a supply and demand is what's going to keep us sustainable. Business is always looking for customers, and it's difficult to justify the rural connectivity investment unless we can actually collaborate with the government, which also needs to deliver vital services like Amir was talking about, health and education, but also food is there, safety nets are there, financial inclusion is there. And this holistic approach will actually help us fast track the development and bringing private sector. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Salma. Yes, we have highlighted the aspects of incentivizing collaborative partnerships and inviting the private sector to work with us. And Dr. Salma mentioned that maybe we need to organize it at the local level and have collaboration in the same space. And earlier, there was a comment from Oksana from Lean Finance on blended finance facility. I understood that there will be some developments of how we can utilize or create the funding opportunity that would be having different multiple sources from government and private sector, and how that funding sources would be distributed to support the infrastructure development processes. So maybe this would help us also to see maybe to see the endpoint for the portal, because the portal will be creating the feasibility studies and it will be supporting the partnership development, and maybe based on that economic models and the simulation models within the transport corridors and then energy corridors or systems, we can also see how the system itself through supply and demand would be self-sufficient. So in this regard, I think this meeting is opening opportunity for member states to collaborate and also to start with a common narrative of this e-resilience network. We still have a few minutes, and if I don't see any hands raised, we will shift to the next session, which is a wrap-up. Can I offer flow to whom? I see, Marat, if you have connection, this is opportunity, because earlier you were disconnected. Then I also can offer the flow for those who didn't speak earlier from Kyrgyzstan and Kazakhstan. Alay Belekov, Altai, are you there? Shahrubek, Dulgun, maybe Elena wants to say something. All right, then let me then do a little wrap up. Can we see the backdrop? We'll just summarize of what has happened today. And thank you very much. Oh, Elena wants to talk. Okay, first let's give the floor to Elena, and then we'll go to the concluding session. Elena, the floor is yours.
Да, большое спасибо. Я скажу пару слов.
Thank you very much. I will just say a couple of words in Russian. Thank you very much to Direktor and Vadim for their feedback. as per monitoring system for e-resilience that we are intending to develop. I just wanted to add that the purpose or within the focus of this monitoring system is not just country rating, but interaction of countries, between countries. I mean, an effort to see developments in other countries and advances in other countries, and just to provide a possibility to other countries that just attained good results to share their experience with other countries and to share their successes and to share the tools and the developments that they have that are in place. I think with the help of monitoring, we will be able to see it just in a short list. I think all these opportunities will be included there, integrated in one short list, which would allow to developing dialogue in our region, including Turkmenistan and other countries which will join our project. Thank you very much for this opportunity to speak up. Thank you very much, Elena. In effect, we have a big focus in our system, in our dashboard, on partnership in terms of e-resilience. And if you could see even the grouping of countries by colors, like traffic light colors, just indicate whether countries or to which extent countries are prepared and ready to develop e-resilience in their domains, and we just identified that each segment has its pillars and its indicators. Now I'd like to just go to the wrapping up session of our joint work, and I would like just to follow the slides that were prepared, and just to speak on the behalf of Madam Tiziana, because she had to leave for a very important parallel meeting, and she just asked me to read her just closing remarks. Now you can see, as you can see on the screen, so at the previous sessions we discussed the frameworks for cooperation in e-resilience. We considered different sides like weaknesses and strengths in e-resilience in terms of from the point of view indicators, NRI and EDGI, and we just listened to the first to the approaches to cooperation organizing from the point of view of e-resilience, and the experts just took part in their session, so they provided their feedbacks and proposals in terms of cooperation development, and just we tried to link two important topics that we highlighted. So the portal development topic, so we hope that we will be able to finalize the development of portal development by end December and to present it, and just to show to demonstrate the interaction of portal with resilience. I think so. Are we anticipating great analytical work and effort, and we will just contact you and try to just arrange this work in a joint manner.
Countries and also RSC target countries, and we also listen to feedback and comments from sub-regional institutions and international organizations and UN agencies. So thank you very much for this, and with gradual move and shift, let's go to the concluding session. I would like to have a little wrap up by saying thank you very much. Please stay with us, don't forget about us. Let's work together through community of practice and through the survey. And I would like to thank also Tiziana and all the colleagues and all distinguished participants from member states for your attention, and for all those who are connected and listening to this very important topic through a YouTube link. We would like to continue discussions, and we will pick up the qualitative and quantitative points of your suggestions, and then we'll try to finalize our analytical publications. As you could see from the event page, we have proposed for you two substantial documents in two languages. on understanding e-resilience for crisis management, and also on risk-informed infrastructure planning for Kyrgyzstan, Kazakhstan, and Mongolia. So the paper on e-resilience is covering the experience more globally, more regionally, and also we offer some monitoring framework, but we will start focusing our attention in countries of North and Central Asia, so we can see how we can tailor the approach to other member states. Another interesting aspect, which was presented by Vadim, it would also be supported by analytical work. Maybe next week we will publish his reports. They are actually proposing the simulation models and also analyzing the feasibility of partnership development on some potentially future interesting smart corridors which are bordering between Kyrgyzstan, Kazakhstan, Mongolia, Kazakhstan, and also with China and Russia. So this work is upcoming. We will let you know. We will send you the email circular about that. I did not see today our colleagues from SONCA. I think they are very much getting ready to the SPECA Economic Forum and the SPECA Governing Council, which will be delivered on 19 and 20 November. We're also online. And this meeting, just to remind you, is organized in preparations to the SPECA Governing Council and Economic Forum, because we have started the discussion quite early, and we have highlighted a number of topics that are of concern of local, national, and cross-border interest. And in discussions with different partners, we also looked at the opportunity to design joint projects. And from ESCAP perspective, I would like to highlight that our interest is to support member states in policy experimentation. Number of experts today mentioned that the public-private partnership is quite challenging, financing is quite challenging, and at the same time, another number of experts highlighted that human-centric approach is more interesting and more important right now, because it will guide us to the required funds and partnerships, and it will help us to find solutions. So in policy experimentation, I think our work should support and boost entrepreneurship. And we are also supporting the openness of different structures to start the digital transformation, and which may lead us to a very strong basis of inclusive and digital economy. We highlighted a number of aspects of human-centered approach, which is also covering the gender equality. And there are a number of indicators that are related with development of different sector-based approach, where ICT is playing a very important role. So to summarize, policy matter most. So the next step is to create a space where we can experiment the policy, and we can also tolerate it or be ready to failures. Sometimes the failures will protect us from bottom line, because we need also to see how we can go through systemic integrity. I have a few slides to support our survey. Can you please pick up the QR code? This is a survey on digital connectivity and e-resilience for crisis preparedness. If you can pick it up from your mobile phone, and I have in English, and also I have in Russian version for you. So you can pick it up and answer the questions about, I think you will invest around 10 minutes to answer these questions. But the interesting part of this survey is at the end of the survey, especially for those who are connected to us through online and YouTube, we will see your contact, and we will see if you want to work with us in these two interesting programmatic areas of the project, which is devoted to regional cooperation and integration in Asia and the Pacific. We also have evaluation of the EGM. Please pick up this QR code. We have worked with you for 3 hours, and in these 3 hours, we have tried to address concerns of technical expertise. It's not a political meeting, but at the same time, it's a very technical meeting that is helping the policymakers to define their trajectories for their work. So please help us evaluate the meeting, pick up the QR code. We have also uploaded the backdrop on the event page. So if the meeting will be closed and you didn't have time to pick up the QR code, you can do it online. You can pick it up from the event page. So with this, let me now shift to the closing remarks from Ms. Tiziana Bonapace. She left her statement for me. So I have an honor to read closing remarks from my director, Ms. Tiziana Bonapace, Director of Information and Communication Technology and Disaster Risk Reduction Division of ESCAP. So distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to thank you for the productive and fruitful discussions held today. I'm very glad that participating experts came with interest and ready to contribute to the work in progress in the region, specifically on the work related to development of partnerships on the prototype of the portal for co-deployment of ICT with energy and road transport infrastructure, and also the toolkit for new transport corridor development. We also looked at the metrics around the interactive e-resilience dashboard and mapping tools. Your contributions are now even more essential as we begin a new decade, a new development cycle, and a new normal. And this, in fact, is already showing our e-resilience by being together regularly with the help of digital platforms. The importance of this technical meeting is recognized for raising awareness and sharing information among experts, which help to prepare for the implementation processes. We hope that analytical products introduced and the partnership portal will help you to make cost-effective decisions, to improve transparency, and to facilitate coordination and cooperation between departments of government agencies and the private companies for ICT infrastructure co-deployment, sharing with road transport and energy infrastructures. We also took notes of your suggestions, and we will adapt the analytical products presented as discussed so that the projects are more specific and concrete. We would like to meet you next time to launch the portal together and the publications on e-resilience with different policy tools. We are ready also to see the common vision of North and Central Asia on how to move and advance the Asia-Pacific Information Superhighway forward. The upcoming meeting of SPECA Economic Forum and the Governing Council may benefit from the overall readiness of the network to address the challenges of the COVID crisis with new policy solutions and partnerships for the better future. I will now close this meeting, and I thank all of you and Aida, she wrote this, who will coordinate the last session. And actually, we hope to illustrate what we have achieved in our next reports through the surveys, where we harvest the missing points and your feedback, and for evaluation of the efficiency of the delivery of this expert group meeting. Thank you very much for all of you, for my colleagues from Conference Management Unit, for interpreters, for your tireless work, and for the Sub-Regional Office for North and Central Asia for this wonderful opportunity to gather together and complete important discussion work that will start a new era. Thank you. Yes, all the colleagues that are online, please take a few minutes to take the survey, and we will circulate. Kunbo will help us to stay in touch with all of you. We will circulate the QR code and the links to the survey so you can fill it up. Actually, we have registered over around 60 participants, so we hope to get so many answers so we can have a good response back to you, and it will be actually, your names will be reflected in our analytical products, because we open these publications that are in event page for the inputs of peers. So if you provide your inputs, your name will be also crafted in our publication. So this is in Russian, and this is in English. think we have 20 minutes so you can fill up the survey. We will be available for you here. If you want to say something, please go ahead. Kuda allows us. Just to make another comment, our colleagues have a very great team that is working with us from their locations in Singapore, in India, in China. They are interns, so they are picking up your answers. They are also tirelessly prepared for this meeting, and very curious to know what you think of these topics. The set of questions, let me give quick introduction. We have a lot of questions, there are over 18, and the set of questions are covering three parts. One is on portal, another is on smart corridors, and the third part is on e-resilience framework. So in each part, we asked you to provide your feedback and pick up some multiple choice answers for the work that we are organizing in these three thematic areas. So in this regard, it's very specific. We put our thought process in it. And if we didn't cover some aspects, you have a space where you can propose your ideas and suggestions, which are beyond the scope of the framework and then what was proposed by Vadim. So please take your time, go through the survey and go through the evaluation so we can meet within the next knowledge product that would be summarizing our inputs in this work. It's a compulsory policy for ESCAP and many UN agencies to have online evaluation of every meeting. So we use resources of member states efficiently. In this regard, please fill up the evaluation of how we work together. And in this room, we have already like 5 people from conference management unit, but many behind the scenes. So we would like to hear from you how well we were organized to support your work through CUDA platform. If your phone doesn't have a QR code reader, down below the slide, we have a link, hyperlink to the same questionnaire. It's created in MS Forms, and it's digital, it's automated. So it's quite easy if you speak Russian or if you speak English, because we offer you all three surveys in different languages. At the end of the survey, you can propose your contact details where you would like us to find you, and we will use your emails to send you the updated version of the reports for the feedback. And we will also propose you to get ready with us to the next phase of this analytical work. So I'm sure we will have more connections offline. It's just a wonderful opportunity that CUDA is providing. We still have 15 minutes where we can work together and see each other in the same space. I know the YouTube is making a recording. Is it still recorded, YouTube? Is it still? Okay. Okay, for the benefit of YouTube participants, I can keep talking at the same time. Maybe please take your time and go through these online surveys and do evaluation, and it will help us to be ready and be prepared for the next meeting better. So just to remind you, this is a meeting which was devoted to the topic of digital connectivity and e-resilience for crisis preparedness. This is our pitch, and the better prepared we are, the better is our response and resilience to different shocks. And that planning will help us to go through the analytical work at the country level, at the intergovernmental level, and we also can take these points into consideration when we create our joint projects. And this partnership portal that Vadim presented would be having that function. So if you have other ideas of how the partnership portal should be serving us, please propose, because this is an early stage of planning for the partnership portal. Today we presented the prototype, and we also presented the simulation models. If you have suggestions, ideas on how we can take it further, please write to us, go through QR code, and propose your ideas, so we will get back to you. Vadim would be also moderating online sessions in the community of practice of SDG Help Desk, and me and Elena will support him. We will post these publications in that groups. So if you didn't have time to present today, or you were not connected because you were connected to YouTube, don't worry. You will have more chances through the online mobile applications, and where we can reach each other and talk to each other nicely through telegraphing messages. Okay, I'm illustrating now the Russian version of the survey. Please pick it up, answer the questions in the survey, and this is the English version. I can actually instantly check if anyone is filling up the form or not by using my WhatsApp link with interns that are processing your responses from India and Singapore. So we noticed that some of you have typed comments in YouTube live chat. Yeah. Okay, can we pick it up? Okay. Okay, we still have 10 minutes, and using this opportunity, I would like to thank everyone who was connected today to YouTube, and my colleagues, Elena, I see also Dulgun, I see Altai Bikela from Kyrgyzstan, although we didn't hear you, but we know that you are active. We also worked with colleagues from Afghanistan and Kyrgyzstan, Kazakhstan, and our sub-regional institutions, and also from UNU, Mamelau, thank you, and Dr. Salma from Worldwide Group. Thank you for being connected, and thank you for Vadim. Special thanks for Vadim for the very thoughtful work that he's putting in the portal and the simulation model. So we are looking partnerships. We want to support Vadim and lead this work towards successful launch. So please stay with us, contact Vadim directly, propose your suggestions, and we would know that you are with us if you fill up the survey. It's in English and in Russian. There are over 18 questions, and please fill up the contacts so we can get back to you after the meeting, and we can collect and harvest your feedback and ideas on how we can improve our analytical work together. Yeah, I see Marat, I see Janat from KineU. Thank you for your comments and interest to contribute. Also, I see other colleagues. So we propose you 3 QR codes, just to summarize. 3 QR codes. One is with Russian version of the survey. The other one is with Russian, with English version, and also the evaluation of the meeting. Please take your time, fill it up, and we will be very happy to summarize your answers through respective reports. You may download these reports or look through them maybe within the next 10 days. Thank you. I just got a message from Christina. She's our consultant from Spain. She made notes from the meeting and will summarize and send it to us. She's now here in Spain. The challenges of being disconnected is to use our imagination, right? In many aspects, we have to imagine where is our colleague and keep our memory space and capacity quite big. So, dear colleagues, dear participants of the meeting, we are now we have completed our session successfully. Please fill up the survey and also fill up the evaluation of the meeting. We will continue discussions on both topics offline through emails and through telephone calls. We can have also bilateral meetings. Please feel free to get back to us so we can conclude these two analytical products by the end of December with satisfaction.